Yes, hello and welcome to A Celtic World, the YouTube channel made by Celtic fans all over the world, for Celtic fans all over the world. From Barrhead to Braga, Coatbridge to Como, wherever you happen to be watching from, you're very much part of A Celtic World. And I say all that, but joining us today are two guys in Glasgow, Kaiser and David. Hello Kaiser, what up?
Yep, good morning, legends. Thanks for having me.
You don't need to thank us for having you. You're one of us, Kaiser. You're not appearing on somebody else's show. This is your home.
Still, thanks for having me. Thanks for putting up with me.
No worries. And you were out last night for a drink, I believe, with our other special guest, contributor, David.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Me and David went to Gracie's, ensured we stayed hydrated, fit and ready for action. Yeah. Never had a hangover in my life. It doesn't matter what I drink, so it's my superpower.
How about you, David? Hangover?
Yeah, well, I don't have any superpowers, but no, we were very well behaved. Morning, folks. Welcome to A Celtic World. We had a great afternoon yesterday. I do think it is, as Kaiser's saying, it's really important to stay hydrated in this tropical heat that is Glasgow. I think it went into double figures yesterday for a while. So it was a great crack. Grace is obviously a fantastic Celtic pub, and I really enjoyed it. So great.
Right, you were out in Grace's. Very good. All right, well, this is one of our sort of summer get-togethers. We sort of alternate each week between CSC and a chat. So this one is a chat among the three of us. What are we going to talk about, I hear you ask? Well, it's called Musical Chairs because we're going to talk about the incomings and outgoings. And David, you'll be delighted to hear that some of our outgoings involve players for whom we have tunes. So this might be our last chance to hear them, to play them, because, we're not going to be playing Gustav Lagerbielke's song very much in the future, for example. So we've got 3 tunes to play for you tonight. I'm sure 420 will be thrilled at that.
Excellent.
If he's joining us a bit late.
Do we have to?
In the chat, yeah.
Do we have to guess? Or are you going to tell us in advance, or do we? I'm sure it'll be obvious to everyone.
Oh no, there's no guessing. I'll tell you in advance. They're not new songs; they're all from the vault. But because you joined us relatively recently, David,
I did.
Sometimes you haven't heard these songs before, so it's a special treat for you.
Definitely.
Just never play a CCV one again. That one should be burned.
It was the interview with CCV that should never be played again, that sort of thing. Anyway, okay. Let us talk first of all about Greg Taylor. He's the first picture there, the greyed out guy. He's off to PAOK. Do you know where they play in, Kaiser, in Greece?
No, I do not, but I know it's in Greece, so I didn't really... It's not a team that I've recorded to the memory and thought to myself, I know their exact geolocation, but I know the country which they play in. But you stole my thunder by saying Greece, so...
I'm going to be coming across like a teacher in this show. Do you know what city, David?
Well, I was going to say, I thought you were doing the musical thing with Greece, Greece being my favourite musical, but sadly not. So are they the team that play in green and white?
No, that's
with the Shamrocks. The Shamrock.
Panathinaikos.
Sad.
They're in Thessalonica, in Greece, which is an absolutely gorgeous place. Do you want to see some pictures of Thessalonica? This is what he's swapping Glasgow for. How dare he?
Looks kind of similar.
Yeah, nice place though. Loads of good pictures of it here. Check this place out. Have you ever been to Greece, David?
Just once, Athens, but I can't say I've know too much about it. I enjoy their food. None of that plant-based vegetable stuff. Meat.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Kai? Have you been to Cyprus or anywhere? Corfu?
Yep, I've been to Kaphos and where the island of Antikythera, where the Antikythera mechanism was found, believed to be the world's oldest computer.
Wow. Very good. A little bit of culture there coming from Kaiser. I like it. And they've got plans for a new stadium. This is the PAOK or PAOK stadium plan. So I don't know where they're at with this, but it doesn't look like that at the moment. That's for sure.
Yeah, they might want to change the N to a P. Might be helpful for them. Just a wee hint for them there.
Is that the AI?
Yeah.
AI's doing? Yeah. Very good.
AI is very needy. It always manages to misspell things. And you ask it to do it again, and you end up requesting the same thing 3 times, and it continues to misspell it. Good morning, Rasta. Welcome in.
Is Rasta Monster a name you recognise from Twitter?
Yes, Rasta Monster is actually a live streamer who I recognise from YouTube and gaming in my past incantation of doing gaming streams. Rasta currently streams live his job doing deliveries and stuff, so it's like IRL streams. Anybody check him out, he's a very good guy.
Yes, Jerry, that's where Greg Taylor will play. PAOK, PAOK. So there's quite a few of the usual faces in the chat. Hello to everyone. Come on and in. The water's lovely. Yeah, so Greg Taylor is off to play in Greece. Do you know any other SPFL players who have gone to Greece? On top of that news, anyone? There's one other has signed for AEK Athens. The guy Penrice from Hearts, the left back that we talked about being a potential player for us. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
During the season.
Remember, it was suggested to much ovation from a certain member of the group chat who insisted he was far too old and not a prospect and shouldn't be at Celtic in any way, shape or form. And there he is at AEK Athens. So
£2 million, I think.
Clearly some people saw the value in him.
Yeah. I believe you're talking about Stephen here. I think we should name him. He said, no, I'm not interested in him because he's shite, he sort of said to me. Took me, sort of caught me unawares, knocked me. I
believe those were the exact words.
Usually it's pish.
Yeah.
In this case, it was shite. There was also talk of Dessers going to AEK Athens, wasn't there? But that's collapsed, as has the other deal that they were talking up for megabucks.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name?
Igeman,
yeah. They thought he was going to go for big bucks, but alas, no. But let's not talk about that. All right, so that's Greg Taylor. Who else has left us?
Lagerbielke.
Well, we'll get on to him. Let's deal with this guy first.
Navarroki.
Or something similar. Yes.
Well,
where's he going
I know
to?
you're a stickler for the enunciation.
Where's he off to?
Yeah. Hanover.
Mm-hmm. Hanover Fist, David.
Well, I was thinking it was another link to yesterday's hangover, but now that we know that Kaiser doesn't get them, then hangover 95 or whatever they're called. But I think he's another one who, assuming that he's leaving, or he's left already. Sorry, we desperately need a proper centre half besides CCV. Welsh. I know obviously these are meaningless friendlies, but I think that we need to start getting proper first team players in, ready for the season ahead. So it's good to get the 2 million, 3 million here and there, for these projects that didn't work, but we desperately needed a proper replacement in there.
Well, he's just going on loan, isn't he, with an option to purchase. But Kaiser, let's talk about this. Player fails to impress coach has never been met with such outrage as it has in this scenario. Loads of Celtic fans going mad, seeming apoplectic with the decision to let him go on loan. Are you?
No, I'm not. I can fully understand why. I think it was Davy May who I've seen absolutely leave him for dust. He has zero pace. There was, of course, when you come in for caveated performances here and there, you have the ability to shine and look good, but there just wasn't a long enough look at Navarroki, or Navarroki, whatever you want to call him, Gav. In my opinion, Brendan saw a lot more of him in training, and Celtic have very pacey attackers. Perhaps the sheer speed that is Daizen Maeda left him looking like he was running in quicksand, or perhaps wearing a pair of cement boots, both him and Lagerbielke. So I'm not surprised at him going out, to be honest with you. Brendan never really seemed to favour him. Was asking at some points if he'd farted in Brendan's porridge in the morning or something, and that's why Brendan just never liked him, because he did come on and perform well in some games, but he was never really tested at a high enough level by players with high enough pace. And I think May is like 33 years old and not the quickest guy by any stretch of the imagination. And when he's running away from you and leaving you for dust, I think it speaks volumes as to why Brendan wanted rid of him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know about you, David, but personally I'm delighted to see the back of him because, as Kaiser has mentioned, I'll be glad to hear the end of his name being butchered by everyone on Celtic YouTube. Here's a few examples. Not that I'm dissing people, of course. I love everyone on Celtic YouTube, but just to show the variety of interpretations. Hamish says Navarroki. Ryan says Navarroki. Paul John Dyke says Navarroki. It's getting pretty close. And then Quinny isn't even trying with Navarroki. So it just drives me crazy. Anyway, I'm proud of Paul, who was on Celtic AM recently, for absolutely nailing the pronunciation, as usual. I've taught him well, David, don't you think? You're on
David's
mute,
muted.
And happy birthday, Paul.
Yes.
So yep. It's always good to have someone who can. Is it Navarroki? Am I close?
It's Navarroki.
Just Rocky will do.
No, well, close enough.
Gav's psychological grooming.
It's not an easy one, clearly. In fact, the only other person I've heard nailing it is not Paul John, but John Paul. Do you know him on Axon? JP, as they call him. JP Mason, is it? The music guy who's always gone on about
the
King
music
Tuts.
man. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know who
he
you're
obviously
referring
got a
to.
good ear because he gets the name. But by way of like a public service, I made a tune about Navarroki, thinking that everyone would say it and we would all fall in line. It clearly didn't happen. Do you want to hear that tune? Have you heard it before, David? It's coming up. Okay.
Get ready for a surprise.
I wasn't really sure what was going on.
I was doing the robot there, Gav, and I have no idea why that one didn't surge to the top of the charts.
Oh dear. What do you make of that, David?
It's always every day's a learning day, Gav, with a Celtic World. So thank you very much for that.
Navarroki. But that was made obviously at a time that was like the infamous transfer window, wasn't it? Where we just bought.
That's back when we cared about players' names of Navarroki's level, when we didn't know what he was really like. I seen there in the comments as well, Maestro highlighted when Miovski turned him inside out, and Miovski lived up to his name because he was Offski, and Navarroki was not catching him.
Yeah, I see Miovski's now being mentioned as for them. It's a possible signing for them because it hasn't really worked out for him in Girona, which was a surprise because he left with a great reputation after Aberdeen.
Yeah, well, as I said before, I knew Dessers wouldn't be going anywhere because I've seen pictures of their manager's wife, and I know he likes two big diddies up front, so I knew Dessers would be staying. They will be trying to acquire another big diddy to go alongside him, I would suggest. Miovski's
16 minutes in and we're on to the big diddies already. That's
Well,
good going.
no, only
But
here on the Celtic world.
Navarroki, that's how he pronounced his name. And I think now that he's gone, we'll never hear that name again as long as we live. But Poland have just elected a new president, and guess what his name is? Yes, that's right.
Miowski.
Naroki is probably what we'll be
Naroki.
hearing from newsreaders and the like.
I should have said, is it Apollo Creed? And you could have said, Navarroki.
That's right. The end of that montage looked like the new Celtic top. Tippy.
Hail, hail, Eddie.
I always
Eddie's in the house.
messes with my eyes, Gav, when people do that. It's like you need the 3D glasses to look at it, like the TikTok logo. That's another one that seems to burn my retinas from my eyeballs, and I don't like the look at it at all. Gav's now recorded that to the memory, and every picture he puts up now, he's like in editing pictures now as we speak.
Yeah. All right, so that's Navarroki, or Navrotski. God, I got it wrong myself there. Too many alternatives. All right, what about Gustav Lagerbielke then? Where has he gone to? Who can tell me?
Braga.
Very good. I'm going to stop asking questions like that, putting people on the spot. Must be very uncomfortable.
No.
I wondered to myself, I didn't know this, when I heard he'd gone to Braga, I was thinking, is Braga an actual place? Like, is it a city or a town? Or is it one of these things like Benfica or Aston Villa? You know, it's a name within a city. Do either of you happen to know that without looking it up like I did?
No.
So Braga is my daughter's best friend. Her dad's a Braga supporter from Portugal.
Oh.
So, it was...
So you know.
I did.
What do you know?
So Braga, and also for those cultural among you, Braga is also the Spanish for knickers.
Knickers?
There you go.
Yeah, quita las bragas. Get your knickers off.
Well,
So a little bit
no
of
wonder Lagerbielke's went there then, because he was pants.
Oh dear. This is where Braga is. It's way up north in Portugal, up near, see Vigo there, Celta Vigo, where, what's his name went? Starfelt?
Starfelt, yep.
Yeah, so it's halfway between like Porto and Vigo. So it is a city in its own right. Do you want to see Braga, where he's going?
Yes.
It's also gorgeous.
Very nice.
All these young, rich players going to live in lovely places. It's hard to blame them.
They'll miss the spray paint and the smell of urine that they get with Glasgow. They're going to miss it.
Up from Porto, says Smell the Glove. McLaughlin P. Jacintas Bragas.
Oh, yeah.
Must be the name of someone. Can't pretend not to get that.
So that's that was his girlfriend who played
Yes,
for. Sorry.
Yeah, we should have sold her to Babe Station.
She's lovely, no doubt about it. If you ever have a chance, David, to see the Carl Starfelt music video that we did, she features heavily in that, playing keepy uppies on the beach, and it would be enough to keep you uppy. Anyway, here's Braga's stadium. Look, it's built into like a granite hillside. It's pretty mad. That's pretty restrictive, isn't it, of stadium expansion? What are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah, they're missing a stand there.
Oh dear. Gone too far. Giving you a hint as to what we're moving on to next. But yeah, Gustav Lagerbielke seemed like a nice guy. Felt sorry for him as well. You know, hardly got a look in. So, I wish him well. Don't you?
Yeah, fair enough. We managed to recap some cash for him. I believe we brought him in for close to 3.5 million. Somewhere in that region. And we've recouped 2 million for him. Fair enough. Sometimes these players come in and regardless of our intent for them, they're just not good enough. I think he's one who is just not good enough. The fact that we've managed to put out Narotsky and Lagerbielke and retain Stephen Welsh baffles me, because Welsh's name's easier to enunciate, but Also, should have been much faster out the door, in my opinion.
Yeah. Paddy Lavery in the house. Oh, Paddy sent me a thing which was like a thank you from Chris Sutton and all the people who were involved in that event in Belfast that Paddy did a great deal to make happen. So congratulations on
Well
that,
done, Paddy.
So Gustav Lagerbielke, does that ring any musical bells in your head, David?
Lager. Nope.
In a
Train
Celtic world
spotting.
sense?
Ah,
Well, here
well,
we
no.
go.
Yeah.
Well, it's by a band who were part of the train spotting. What do you call it? What do you call
LP.
it when they
The LP, yep.
when they make the
The
music for a
soundtrack.
movie? Soundtrack. That's the word. Blur. This is in the style of Blur. This is in praise of Gustav Lagerbielke just after he signed, when I thought his name would be the troublesome one to pronounce. Fresh face and sweet, hope you've got patience. We've got so many in central defence. You'll get your chance when that loan is ended. Time on your side, both being descended.
He does look a lot like Sinead O'Connell there.
That's a
God
classic.
rest her.
I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say I've not disliked any of the other ones, but
Okay.
no, cracker.
Yeah. I enjoyed doing that one. But I got a terrible response. Somebody was saying, like, having seen that, Rangers have won all the bragging rights for this season. You've just, on behalf of all Celtic fans, you've just fucked it for us, making that pitch or words to that effect. So that was quite harsh. Anyway, yeah, that was Gustav Lagerbielke. This is like being a DJ on Radio 1, introducing tracks, a little bit of chat. Then on to the next one.
I had a strange reaction with Paddy's dog there. I see it in chat. Tell the dog not to sit in the speaker, Paddy, especially when Gav is singing. Never let Sean Connery train your dog to sit down.
Alrighty then. Let's move on to this picture then that I showed you slightly too early. There was a comment about this earlier about him sitting with his Dingler, yeah.
Yeah.
Kuhn smiling with Dingler, lol, wee Fanny. Dingler is the name of his what's his name? Agent, right?
Yeah.
Who's doing
He's
pretty
a big
nicely.
Dingle. Yeah.
He's had a lot of moves in his career, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got the mobile phone in his hand there, already scouting his next move. He's a bit of a journeyman. Yeah. In my opinion, good riddance to Kuhn. Definitely threw his doll out the pram when Jota came back and was embraced by the fans. It certainly seemed to be the point where he started crying, threw the baby out with the bathwater, chucked it, down tools, whatever analogy you want to use for it. I think Celtic have done fantastic to do some good business and get, 17 million euros, 15 million pounds.
He's not out the door yet.
A bit more than that.
Yeah, he's doing a medical. I believe he was, that flight he caught there was to Como to do a medical. I don't know if that medical has been completed, and I expect it to be announced any day.
Yeah, just get it sorted. I think it was at the start of the start of January, you were probably disappointed if you got less than 25 million for him. Upwards, he was by far the best player in the league. Destroying teams in the Champions League, playing absolutely tremendously. But whether or not he was tapped up, whether or not it was a temporary improvement in his performance. I mean, the first 6 months he was shite. Then he was 6 months he was unplayable, and then for the last 6 months he was back to being fairly mediocre again. I think 17 million or whatever we get from him is going to be good cash. But again, only if we actually invest that into players that are ready. I think one of the challenges we've had is that we've been our whole marketing sort of transfer strategy is like bringing in 10 players at 2 million each. And we were talking about this yesterday in Grace's. We really need to be looking at, getting 1 or 2 players in every year at the sort of 10, 12, 15 million. We can afford it. We're still, we're still, we've got Kyogo's money, we've got, the Lagerbielke and all this other stuff. We've got Kuhn, Frimpong, 6 million. We've got so much cash, and I think we really need to start now getting 2 or 3 8 to 10 to 12 million first team ready. Okay, get the projects in, but we've already got more projects in at this time of the season than we've actually released. So, I think I'm not panicking. I'm not sort of, getting, suicidal or anything about it. We hope for the new players are going to come onto a game, but there's no one that's really. Obviously we've got KT and Nigren or another one for you to decide how we pronounce that one, Gav. But hopefully, this is when the cash comes in. We'll be getting big money signings coming in, as Big Dom says. Get it spent on the priority. Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with a 2-tier transfer system where you bring in the projects. Maybe you'll make some money out of them in a year or 2. But you're also bringing in enriching players who really make a difference.
Getting these players off the books, and I did send you a list way before the transfer window even started, Gav, about 16 players that I thought we were going to try and get off the books. And I did suggest that we're going to be bringing in about 6 squad players, project players. And I did hold out hope that we were going to bring in at least 5 first-team players. As of right now, we've brought in 2 first-team players, I would say, in Nigren and KT. And the other 3 we've brought in could be firmly placed in the project pile. But
definitely.
Some of them have shown, as we've got to see them in pre-season. I believe with Nicholas Kuhn as well, as David was highlighting to, incredibly high ceiling. The only problem was he also had an incredibly low floor, which he enjoyed going back to.
Yeah, good point. No, he just definitely want to move on. I remember in his interview when he signed, he said he was looking forward to being here for, a couple of years. And I thought, well, that's not really what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to kiss the badge and talk about how it's a dream to play in front of the Celtic Park faithful and play in the Champions League and what a great history and all that. He's like, I'm happy to be here for a couple of years and then I will go somewhere else. So
very German of him. Excellent accent there, Gav.
Thank you.
I believe some of the players we've been linked with, Gav, as well. There's one, De Haas, that we're linked with.
We'll come on to him in a moment, yeah.
I have a song for him.
He's on the run sheet, as you've been through in great detail.
Yeah, I don't read the run sheet, Gav. I'm glad there's one there, but...
Gotta do your homework, Kaiser.
Yeah, I don't know. I react to it live. It's all live. Just using sheer willpower and brain ability.
Well, we will come on to him. Let's finish off with Kuhn for now. Como, he's gone to. And guess what we're doing now? Going to have a wee look at Como. Reputed to be one of the most beautiful places in Italy, which in itself is an amazing country. So this is Como. Check this out. Look at that place. Absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful.
David, have you been to a wine tasting weekend in Como?
Sadly not. No, I worked in northern Italy. I worked in Turin. I used to work there kind of 3 months a year. It's a fantastic part of the world. The wine there is absolutely fantastic. Montepulciano, I think, and some of the wines from northern Italy are highly, highly recommended.
Paddy Lavery says it looks like the waterworks in Belfast. That's funny. If you know the waterworks. Now this is where Como play. Look, their stadium's right by the lake. I think that's what it currently looks like. But it too has big plans. I think that's what it currently looks like as well. Do I have pictures of what they planned? Yeah, this is what they reckon it's going to turn into.
Such
something like
such a sporting arena, I'm sure, very befitting of Kuhn. Yeah, somebody who obviously has a very high opinion of himself. Como just got a little bit uglier, considering Kuhn's little dulcet moany face turned up. So let's hope they sign them. Let's hope that business gets done.
There's McLaughlin P pointing out that that's just Italy's equivalent of Dumbarton Rock. Another beautiful waterside stadium. Just as gorgeous and glamorous. What's the wine like there in Dumbarton, David?
It's all but fast.
Yeah,
So
probably never seen a grape, but I would.
Bum grapes, maybe. Few of them have got piles out there.
Yep.
All right. So, obviously that brings us on to the third and final musical treat of the night, which is our homage to Nicholas Kuhn, which I have to play as an actual video here. So
this is actually my favourite. This one.
If this one works out. Oh, no. Oops.
Yeah.
That wasn't right. Let's do that again. If a reminder there, if ever you needed it, that he was brilliant for us.
Yeah,
that footage,
definitely.
That highlights reel, absolutely amazing. Chucky Arla says 30-odd goal contributions out the door and likely a club-footed winger with rickets to replace him. Nae doot. He's got a lot of faith.
That's the transfer model. Yeah, I've seen people asking there, was Monty barred? Monty best not be barred or I will riot. Get Monty unbarred.
Well, you didn't see Monty in the last PSC episode. He was, I like to think of Celtic World like, people describe it as a pub, don't they? You know, you go to the pub before you go to the wine bar that is
Axon.
It's like a pub, it's like a house party. You know, everyone's welcome. Come on in, have a crack, you know, we'll all have a laugh. But, you know, if you're going to come into a house party and start acting the prick and fucking coming at the host, you can't be complained if you get frog marched off the premises, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but you don't get barred for life. You just get frog marched off for that one night. You don't bar him for life.
He didn't steal a telly.
Was it you, Gav? Was he
It was
verbally or in text attacking Gav?
Well, the context of it was a CSE episode that was a nightmare to record and took me days to fucking sort it out and to get it out. It was so much work, and I'm here with a fucking broken wrist and a bruised coccyx, and he's telling me that these CSE episodes are boring as fuck. So I was like, all right, well, on you go then. You don't have to be here. Anyway, that's brought down the mood of this cheery episode a little.
Reinstate Monty.
I don't know how to reinstate. I don't know if there's a reinstate function. Anyway.
But well pronounced on the coccyx, Gav.
Yeah. That's bruising that coccyx is how you hurted your wrist.
It's no joke. It was the same incident. It was the same incident. I have to be honest. Yeah, so not good. All right. So, Kaiser, we're talking about who's coming in. Who's in so far? Doohan, Negrin, Osmond, Tierney.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're probably all agreed that that's
okay.
Yeah. Inamura,
yeah.
David, you said you watched the highlights of Cork City. And Inamura is suddenly a world beater, our best player.
Yep. Maldini is, Maldini's got an Inamura t-shirt. Apparently he played well. I think by all accounts, Rodgers was pleasantly surprised that he could kick a ball. Makes you kind of wonder, what the transfer policy is all about. But whether we were just bringing him in to immediately sell him, I don't really understand what the point was. But it came in, and obviously, we're probably likely to face better opposition in Cork this season. But you can only play, who your opponents are, and by all accounts, he played very well. So good luck to him, and hopefully he is the new Maldini. And and we sell him for gazillions in 10 years' time.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I haven't seen any footage of pre-season. Have you watched any Celtic yet, Kaiser?
Yeah, I've watched them all. The Queen's
Oh, yeah.
Park game and the Cork City game. Look, Cork City are probably the level of teams that we're going to be facing in the SPFL, or the majority of the teams. So I wouldn't be too hard on them. And also I was very impressed with Inamura, a player who I decided before he came in that I was going to give him a chance, see how he performed. I'd watched some footage of him online and thought he could do very well as a left back. Understand why Brendan maybe sign off on so many signings and so many came in just through the scouting team. It's just the way the club operates. I didn't believe he would be a Brendanrodgers signing, hence Brendan's comments about him, like he's going to be going out on loan or maybe one for the future, comments like that. I've seen him playing in the left back position. He was out there doing incredibly well. His passing, his range of passing was fantastic. Winning balls in the air as well, which was suggested from a lot of other Celtic podcasts that he couldn't win balls in the air. He wouldn't go up for headers. He didn't jump. He's not going to play left centre back. I definitely don't think he's going to play left centre back for us. But as a backup to Kieran Tierney, £250,000, looks a prospect to me.
You think that's what he is, a backup to Tierney?
Yeah, I think so. I think Brendan's took a look at him in the Como game. Of course, time will tell. Remains to be seen. But I enjoyed watching lots of the other podcasts who stuck that umbrella in the sand and fully erected it in the camp of he's not going to be good enough and this is engineered decline from the board and all the usual alarm bells ringing the dinner bell for the Celtic pappies and the Celtic daddies all out there banging pots on the driveway. So I enjoyed watching them all eat humble pie, and I enjoyed the swing in the community, people now changing their opinion, and references to Maldini. You always enjoy a good Maldini reference.
Yeah. Hayata looked really good, great with and without the ball, operating out of the left back position. Oh, he played in left back, did he? And
Yes.
Kyle Ure should be promoted to the first team or sent out on loan this season.
Yeah. Kyle Ure was absolutely fantastic. His vision and range of passing in midfield was just a marvel. Had me looking and going, why are we going to go and sign Lennon Miller to come in when we can just promote? And then this pathway manager, Sean Maloney, will have a success to his name as soon as he's in the door, showing a legitimate pathway for young players coming through to the Celtic squad. It's one that definitely needs to be looked at. There's my main man Keith in the chat as well. Come on the Hoops Celtic. Another fantastic Celtic channel legends.
I think Summers also played quite well in the first half against Cork. He set up a couple of really intricate passing. So I thought he played well as well. I think I think Inamura was signed. I thought he was originally signed as potentially as a centre half, but a kind of left sided centre half. I probably we've now got the opportunity to have a replacement for KT. So we'll spend all the gazillions on other priorities like centre half, centre forward, wingers, creative midfielder, defensive midfielder. I think that covers it pretty much.
I had a bit of a conversation on Twitter where I was saying that, Trusty, you'd think after your manager declaring that you were weak as piss, Trusty would be on the protein shakes and down the gym with CCV, asking him, what's your routine? How can I be strong like you? And some people were saying, you're mistaking bulk for lean muscle mass. There's nothing wrong with Trusty's physical strength. It's all mental. But he looks like you could push him around pretty easy, don't you think? You don't think bulking up would help give him a bit more physical confidence in his ability
I think his greatest asset, and the reason he keeps getting picked by Brendanrodgers, is his recovery pace and how fast he is. So I think he would be wary of bulking up too much and downgrading on the speed. I think people are right. Look, I keep saying big dick mentality. It's a mentality you need to have to put yourself about, be the big dick in the room. I always reference Adam Eder with it as well. And for any ladies watching, don't worry, you get big muff energy as well. You just need to know how to put it about the room. Every time you zoom in there, Gav, you expose my my coccyx down here. It's hidden by the name, but when you zoom us in with the comments, pops out.
Mm-hmm. David, your thoughts on Trusty? Do you think he's got the minerals to step up this season?
Yeah, I thought you were going to ask for my comments on the other word. Do you know there is a gin that is produced? I'm not sure, is it an Irish gin? It's called Muff Liquor.
Yes, we've shown that on the show before.
And
I think.
No, I've actually tried it for but it was a very, very nice gin. In terms of
for half an hour there, David.
in terms of Trusty, yeah, I think I agree with the comments in the chat. I mean, this is a big season for him. You know, I think with two of his main opponents, rivals for the position to be beside CCV, it has got pace. I would agree that it's a cracking gin. It really is. But you know, I think it is important. But in saying that, you know, I do think we need better. You know, I have a feeling that we're going to end up with CCV and Scales as our front two for the start of the season. I don't know, is it Paddy Bonner maybe that picks the team? Because, you know, if you ever listen to him on Celtic TV, he has a terrible time trying to pronounce Navarroki's and Lagerbielke's and everything else. So maybe that's why we've ended up with Welsh and Scales and CCV. But no, we need better. But I think if you know, if Trusty does get his finger out and maybe somebody gets you know, who was it, O'Reilly, that used to do you know, a lot of the sort of guru and sort of the mental side of things, because I think Trusty, there is a player there. You know, he is fast. He's tall. Scored a few goals last season as well. So yeah, potentially, you know, I hopefully we're getting better than him. But it's a big season for him.
Well, I'm sorry. What about this guy then? You mentioned him earlier, Kaiser. Is he going to be... Do you think this is a real story, even, this one?
Yeah, I think so. I've already got a song for him. As I was talking with David. And he sees it, like, you just go up and just power in headers and we'll play this at Paradise. Ooh, yeah, I think he's a real goer. Looks like a real quality powerhouse player. I've watched clips of him as well. Excellent in the air. We need that for defending corners and obviously, hopefully rattling a few in. I did suggest last season that as a Celtic centre back going up for corners, you should be getting about 8 or 9 goals a season from your centre backs. We should really be like capitalising on these squandered opportunities. And one of the reasons people kept saying, "Oh, Nicholas Kuhn is very predictable. He always cuts inside." And I went, well, if he was going outside and hitting the byline and crossing the ball, who would he be crossing it to? Absolutely no one puts the head on it. Also suggested that Adam Ida should be in training right now, just heading, get a game of headers and kicks or something. Learn how to put your forehead on the ball and get a few goals that way. 20 goals from Celtic's main striker, our top man, 20 goals a season. It's just not enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, this guy, Justin De Haas, I'm not too sure about him myself. He looks like a big lump. And sometimes that's what you want. You know, he's 6'4" or something. Plays for Famalicão. I was talking to a Portuguese friend of mine who reckons this guy gets targeted, in fact, as a weak spot by the opposition. He put it like this, Kaiser. How do you pump the Famalicão? Justin De Haas.
Oh, there you go. That's him. That maybe put an end to any transfer speculation for him.
Yeah, it's a slightly unfortunate name. You mispronounced that, David, is it not?
Yeah. No, as I say, I think you know, we're. What was it? Are we coming on to the Japanese striker that we're going to get, or it looks like he's in the door already?
Who is he?
Yamada. And you know, there was 2 Yamadas, so that we had Shin, which I think is the one that we're going for. But I'm so disappointed. The other one that we could have got is the FUKI Yamada. which would have been
Your
much.
Mada.
Yeah.
I could see that in the back of lots of Celtic tops.
Is that other one Gerbil?
I don't know who that is in the background.
Behind them, yeah, it could be a gerbil and Yamada. That's a stark thought.
More
Some
Justin
Richard
Dahas
Gere.
jokes.
Well, Richard Gere and Chubs popped to mind. Yeah, look, I've also had a look at Yamada. Didn't have a very prolific season last season, but the season before he scored like 20 goals. Very much a penalty box striker. Loves to operate in tight areas. And is good with the head as well. He's actually a very good header of the ball. Scores a few goals with the head. So maybe one coming in there to be that penalty box striker when the games get compressed, as they do with teams playing the low block against us.
Yeah, they do say he's like fox in the box sort of player, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Shin Yamada. Apparently he has a signature move where he does a little shimmy, as if to shoot to fool the keeper. It's called the Sinn Féin. Wonder, is that going to take off?
Sinn Féin. I like that.
I'm full of David dad jokes tonight.
Yeah. I'm proud of you, son. Yeah.
Chucky Al there just went wild in chat. Jerry Adams is celebrating at home, I'm sure.
Sinn Féin. Sinn Féin's to shoot, they might say.
Sinn Féin's left. Sinn Féin's right.
Yeah, so generally speaking, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are we with the show so far? And, I mean, it's assuming that there is going to be some money spent on proven first-team improvers, isn't it? I mean, where do we think that's going to be? Striker? Winger?
Yeah. For me, I think the revelation and one of our key signings is going to be this guy in the background of my cheer, Daisen Maeda. I believe he's going to be, he's leaning to, seen some interviews in Japan, that he's wanting to be more dedicated in the centre-forward role. I believe if we offer him that number one striker and offer him a new contract, he may stay. So that's our big money striker right there. We're just not selling him, we're keeping him. I believe we'll spend money in the centre-back position. So left centre-back, I believe we will go and invest in there. A right winger and another central midfielder, perhaps. A defensive midfielder, a destroyer.
Were we on air, Kaiser, when you started talking about all these links to our best players going away?
No.
Or was that backstage?
Yeah, backstage. Yeah, there was links.
The second half of the window, there could be a lot of anxiety if those stories start gaining any traction.
Yeah, links with CCV, linked to Everton. Alistair Johnston, linked to Inter Milan. And Daisen Maeda, linked to several top Premiership sides, including Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal. Lots of teams looking at him. Believe starting price for Maeda is around 25 million just to get round the table. And it would certainly be double that, in my opinion. You need to come with to price him from Celtic, because I believe that's just what he's worth. That's what he's worth to us in Champions League qualification and Champions League money and carrying a threat in Europe. So for me, you need to be bringing at least 50 million to be trying to prize Daisen Maeda out of my cold dead fingers.
You and Smell the Glove both? Lawwell says Daisen, I'm up there with more than an inflatable shark. Yeah, it reminds me, when we went into this season, one of the questions last season, the start, we asked who in our squad do we think this is the last season of? And at that time, we sort of seemed to agree, or quite a few of us said Alistair Johnson. He'll probably play one more season for us, and if he keeps going the way he has been with Copa America and all that, Canadian exploits, it'll be hard to hold on to him. So to hear that he's linked with Inter Milan wouldn't have surprised me back then, but I've kind of forgotten about that. But it's that's a bit
Celtic
of a
have a way of lulling you into a false sense of security, and also a way of completely denying information and releasing information. For instance, I didn't know Cameron Carter-Vickers had undergone a knee operation during the summer, and I understand it's just a bit of clean-up and he's going to be back playing a lot faster than Jota's going to be back playing anyway. But still Celtic managed to keep that under wraps. They managed to do their business quietly and secretively when they want to. So I wouldn't, as Ange Postecoglou says, don't fall in love with your heroes. Looking at Alistair Johnston's performances, I believe he suffered a lot as well when Kuhn went off the boil because he couldn't extend as much and overlap and run. And Alistair Johnston seemed to go off the boil a bit as well. So, and I understand, look at the other players from the Canadian national setup, and Alistair Johnston is like one of the biggest, most vocal figures from that setup. Alphonso Davies, I believe their striker is one absolutely fantastic. I think he's just signed with Juventus as well. Just at the weekend there, I was suggesting that Celtic should take a look at him along with other players for the Canadian setup because Alistair Johnston's been such a revelation, such a fantastic player. So it's hard to hold on to these players.
Speaking of Maida again, now Maida and Hatate were the two I think that we most feared going into this window would leave, and people also mentioned Kuhn, and then the Kuhn thing became a reality. There hasn't been any talk of Hatate from what I can see, or I haven't heard any. But yeah, what about this comment here? I'm wary of Ange getting that Brentford job and going for Maida right away. Has Ange got the Brentford job, or is that just speculation?
I think that's just speculation at this stage. I'm not aware of Ange taking any other job. I think Ange is holding out for the year, taking a little year out of football and watching Brendan Rodgers like a hawk to see if Brendan's going to sign a new deal or not.
Strangelove says he's not taking the job, David.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if it's on Ange's trajectory. I think it would be a step down from Spurs. I think he's. In saying that, I don't know which one of the top teams would necessarily be that keen on Ange Ball, but I wouldn't see him going for even be interested in the Brentford job, to be honest.
Keith Andrews has it, according to those in the know, including Keith. Come on, the hoops. All right. So, listen, we're just coming up in the hour. So, any other thoughts you want to share with us? We don't get to see each other very often during the summer. At least you and I don't, Kaiser. David's often involved in those really exciting CSC episodes that everyone loves. But, Kaiser, catch us up on some of your crack about Celtic or life.
Just life in general. Just having fun, living my best life, taking part, obviously, in other podcasts as well. I don't want to turn it into an advertisement campaign, but the ladies and gentlemen in the chat know where to find us. They know where to see us. Looking forward to getting back to it, really getting back into it. I've been missing Dano and his doggy. I did ask him to set up a few watch-alongs for the Cork game and the Queen's Park game before that, and I can understand he's not too keen to pry himself from bed at 4 and 5 in the morning to have those watch-alongs set up for pre-season friendlies. Possibly I've been lulled back to sleep by some of the performances, especially the second half when the youth players came on. Me, I took it more I enjoy watching, I enjoy seeing what's developing at Celtic, and as always, the rumour mill is in full swing during these windows. I seem to revel in the rumour mill. I enjoy it. I enjoy starting a few rumours as well. I did believe at the start of this window that 3 Japanese players at Celtic who were currently there, Daizen Maeda, Ryo Hatate and Kyogo Furuhashi, were angling for a move under pressure from their international coach about playing in a top 5 league. Seen Kyogo certainly stamp his way out the door fast enough and not look back until it didn't really go well for him at Rennes, and there he is now down in the Championship. I have suggested let's see how his origami shoulder holds up to the Championship. And let's approach it with an open mind. If you think you're stamping your feet and screaming and shouting right now because we've got money in for Nicholas Kuhn, or money's about to come in, and Celtic fans are wanting to guarantee where it's spent, could be getting a whole lot more money in, and late in the window as well. These big clubs tend to move for players late in the window. They like that big transfer deadline day signing, and of course that suits Celtic board right down to the ground, because that leaves them selling our players and selling our best players and replacing them with absolutely no one. So that's the one to be fearful for me. Peter Lawwell just swimming in a vault of money like Scrooge McDuck. Yeah. Well, Dermot Desmond possibly, he has the sideburns for it, doesn't he? So Dermot Desmond definitely has a vault of £1 coins he goes swimming in. And yeah, just living my best life, enjoying being part of a podcast, enjoying being part of a Celtic scene and the Celtic world, of course. Yeah. Also enjoying going back and some things that I said that came to fruition and going back and reminding people because I've said it in their chat as well. So I'm enjoying annoying a few people. I did suggest to Quinny the other day, I seen him on a Celtic World, and I says to him that he's a stream slut. He's on more streams than me. Utterly destroyed his chain of thought. He had to stop, read the comments, and then try and go back to what he was talking about. I was like, oh yeah, mission accomplished.
Speaking of our chairman, David, did you see he's lost loads of weight? You reckon he might have been spending some money on Ozempic or something similar? He's slimmed down.
On them jabs.
Yeah, hadn't noticed. He's probably just a lovely, healthy guy. Like all that swimming and money, that's what it does for you.
It's hard. Well, he's known for pulling strokes with money, so all that breaststroke and the vault of money, Peter's lost a lot of weight.
Well, if this is the kind of chat you've tuned in for and you're enjoying, maybe you should listen to this wee clip.
Hot dang. I only recently discovered a Celtic World. And it is totally dope. For Celtic fans in the US it's da bomb. And you know how much we love bombs. Subscribing? Hells yeah.
Should probably have chosen a different one there, considering this isn't one of the American shows. Kaiser, have you seen any of the American shows that we have American guys doing? Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah,
I've watched a few of them. Wednesdays, great time for them to drop as well. Wednesday night, usually chilling. Well, I'm not really watching them live as they premiere. I catch up later because I'm actually live somewhere else at that time, Gav. Thanks for the segue to advertise again. But yeah, I've been enjoying the content that's been brought. Just keep it up. I enjoy the CSCs as well. I watched the Tokyo CSC, the last one, and I thought it was very entertaining. And I could see the guy who was on it, his connection was pretty bad. So there must have been a lot of work, a lot of editing there to get that working correctly. So well done, Gav.
But I do it because just out of love, and out of respect for the viewership. So thank you everyone for joining in the chat and being delightful as always.
It's not for the YouTube millions.
Yes. That's right.
Remember, and smash the like and subscribe. That helps us combat the YouTube algorithm, pushes us further up and lets other Celtic fans find the channel. Hail.
Jerry Smith, there's somebody else calling you out. Kaiser seems to be everywhere. There's your man Kaiser again.
Stream slut.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks to you too as well. It's always a delight. And we'll see you back here. Not next Thursday, but the Thursday after. But soon the summer will be over and we'll be back into the games. Looking forward to that. Yeah, can't wait for the proper games to start. I'm not a big fan of, these meaningless games where you learn very little. But, the season will soon be upon us and we'll be firing on all cylinders Monday and Thursday, plus the American show and maybe another show to be announced. So thanks again, everyone. Thank you, David.
Cheers, hail.
Thanks, Kaiser.
Cheers, legend. Hail. Legends in chat.
All right. Tatty bye.